Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to Popternative. This is the talk show and podcast where we have digital discussions, the worlds of music, TV, film, news, sports, everything really, depending on the guests, we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. My guest is a recording artist, new single just out for Still Call You Mine, which is available wherever you listen to music. His name is Ryan Petitpas, but he goes by Famba. Famba's with us. Welcome to Popternative, man.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I mean, it's always exciting when you release a song, right? It's always kind of like an exciting time. But it's like the calm before the storm. What's that kind of week before you release a song like for you, man?
It's nerve-wracking, especially with this song because it was done last March, so I've been sitting on it for months. So it's always like, oh, like how's it going to be received? Or then like you kind of like, I mean, like when you just write a song and you finish it, like there's nothing like it. Like you listen to it on repeat. But then once you've had it sitting around for so long, it's like it loses a bit of the magic. But luckily, this song has not lost the magic, and I still love it dearly. So yeah, nerve-wracking, but also like very exciting.
And already, over 100,000 streams on Spotify. We all know dance music and EDM is very popular. Are you kind of surprised about kind of the growth in terms of the streaming numbers that EDM has been doing in the last couple of years? It's pretty crazy to see.
It is very crazy for like such a underground kind of genre and its inception. Like if you look back to the early 90s with house music and Detroit techno, like it was very underground and taboo. To see where it's come to now, where it has become this like huge global pop music kind of realm. Yeah, it's very exciting, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Absolutely. When did you kind of decide that music was something you wanted to do, making music, putting out songs? When did that kind of, when was there kind of a light bulb in your head where you're like, this is what I want to do?
I always wanted to get into it. I mean, I was playing guitar at a young age and like, doing that whole thing. And I always wanted to make electronic music, but back, when I was younger, there was very little resources. But then eventually I went to my first festival and I was always listening to the music. And then I kind of experienced it live for the first time. And I was like, all right, like this is the coolest thing ever. And I mean, it wasn't even a big festival, but just like that environment and the whole atmosphere kind of roped me in. And then I went home and I downloaded Fruity Loops and I just never stopped.
Absolutely. We mentioned the streaming. I mean, playlists are a big thing right now that are, taking artists like Famba to the next level. Mint Canada, you were actually on the cover. You're currently on the cover of that playlist, which is awesome. I mean, is it kind of interesting how like music curation is also kind of like the most important thing? Like people also like take a lot of time and are very peculiar about playlists and what they put in when they study or when they're at work. Like that's a big thing now. Like it's an art, playlist making.
It is. It really is. I mean, I could never make a playlist, like a successful playlist, because my taste is like all over the place. Like I have playlists that go from like, very aggressive techno to like groovy house music to like John Mayer. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm probably not a good curator, but props to the guys who are making those playlists. Like they're very influential, and I love listening to like the curated ones because you're getting what you've clicked on.
It's almost like a vortex too, right? Still Call You Mine gets put on all those. Swear to God was on a ton of those. Got a lot of radio hits as well. It's like a vortex though, right? It's like people you can't get away with it when it gets on these playlists too, which is awesome.
It's good for us.
Yeah, which is amazing. When I do I like to keep these interviews kind of casual and everything. Sometimes I kind of think of talking points, things I want to ask. This I'm really excited to ask you about because I really want your opinion on. Like I'm pumped about this for some reason. Okay, so I'm a big music guy. Like all my life, listen to all kinds of music. Right? I'm a big fan of like dance music, EDM. I like it. I'm a big heavy music guy. I love metal. I love punk. I love the heavy stuff. Okay. I see, and I want to know if you've seen this, because even if you don't listen to it, maybe as an artist in the EDM, you probably respect the whole. there is a little bit of a similarity between the music that you're making, a lot of the heavy music, because, you know, you're making a song, there's the build up, then there's the drop, right? In heavy music, there's kind of the build up and the breakdown. You know what I mean? And it's just
Exactly.
kind of ear candy. Have you ever thought about that? The similarities between like what the music you're making, like heavy music? It's interesting, like the build up.
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, dance music and metal, like anything from like metalcore to deathcore, it all
Yes.
shares a similarity. Especially the kind of side of EDM where like dubstep is prevalent, because a lot of these dubstep guys are playing metal versions of their dubstep songs. So like instead of a drop, sometimes they'll actually do a full metal breakdown. And
Yes.
the kids go crazy.
Do you
It's
listen to a
very
little bit? Do you listen to a little bit of that from time to time?
Oh yeah. I listen to a ton of metal. I used to go to metal shows and punk shows when I was younger. So yeah, I love that culture.
There's because I literally interviewed Kyle Anderson, who's the singer of Brand of Sacrifice, which is a deathcore band from Toronto, and their streams are just like insane right now on Spotify. And he brought that up about dance music, because I asked him why breakdowns are so popular, because I love breakdowns, but I don't know why I love them sometimes, right?
No, it's pure bliss.
No, but it's like too, like, you listen to a song like Still Call You Mine, right? That one's a bit interesting too for the listener, because there's the drop and then it gets into it, but there's a lot of kind of build-ups in that song, and there's a lot kind of going on, which I find interesting as well. But when you're kind of deciding about that build-up, it's like the payoff, right? Like you want the listeners to kind of know about that drop. For that song, what was kind of going through your mind in terms of like the build-up and the payoff?
Yeah, so usually the build-up is to get to a payoff.
Yes.
I find a build-up is great if you don't have vocals somewhere, so you can kind of like introduce a new section with the build-up. That's usually how I think it. So like, let's just say I had the same song, but the chorus, which is Still Call You Mine, has become a pre-chorus or something.
Yep.
I would probably not have a big build-up if that like drop or whatever didn't have or had vocals on it. But without the vocals, you kind of need that like tension. That's kind of how I look at it. But usually when you have a like loosely speaking, like when you have this kind of like breakdown chorus, and it's going into a drop, like or not a breakdown, sorry, like where all the drums come out.
The metal. We're talking about the metal.
But yeah, like usually when you have this kind of like empty chorus that builds up, it does need a drop because there's so much like tension building. Yeah, I guess I don't know if that answers the question, but
it does, absolutely. The obvious answer to the question I'm about to ask you, the answer is you're hoping people want to listen to it repeat. The question I'm asking is, when people listen to Famba, what are you hoping they get out of it? The obvious answer is you want them to kind of continue to stream you and listen to you and everything on repeat. That's like the goal. What else do you think you're hoping people get when they listen to Famba's music?
I mean, I want you to have fun. I mean, I'm making music especially now with the music coming out, I'm just trying to make fun music. I want to hopefully elevate your mood. I like music as an escape. Sometimes I just love getting a new vinyl album, or like just listening to a new album, putting my headphones on and just chilling for an hour. I love that escape. So yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for in my own music. I'd like to get out what I get from it.
One thing that has made Famba also successful, and a lot of other artists, is obviously features and collaborations are huge. You have gotten a chance to kind of work with some really cool artists and have different collabs and everything. What is so appealing for the artist about doing these collaborations? Is it the fact that it's kind of two fan bases coming together and the fans kind of get everything? What do you like about doing collaborations?
I mean, definitely the fan bases. Yeah. I mean, sometimes like you can write a song, and then you might want someone to feature on it. So you might get someone with like a similar fan base, so you can both kind of like ride the wave. But also it's just great to work with people. Like, sure, you can write songs by yourself, but there's nothing like writing songs with other people. There's like this kind of magical moment that happens when you've all figured out you've just made something great, so you can't really trade that for anything.
We always talk about Canada's music scene. It's always been amazing. I'm kind of noticing more and more, though, that some of the artists coming out of Canada are just kind of phenomenal. And I'm discovering all these new artists because of playlists, right? What do you kind of think of the current kind of crop of Canadian electronic dance music artists like yourself. I mean, it's amazing to see the growth and the stream plays and everything with those artists, Famba.
I know. There's like something in the water here, I think. I mean, like considering how, I mean, we have a big country, but population wise, it's pretty small. And to, you know, consider all the talent that's come out of this seemingly small country population wise is insane. Same with like places like Sweden too. That's definitely crazy. But talking about Canada, yeah, there's so much talent here. Seems like a lot of the biggest stars, I mean, ever have come out of Canada, which is nice. So yeah, I think there's something in the water here.
It's crazy. Yeah, I talked to Ryan Shepard about that too, about Hello Sunday, and he was kind of telling me too. He's like, yeah, man, it's like Canada's killing it right now. I mean, a lot of luxury. You look at some of the art, especially, but I'm talking like a lot of genres, right? But like electronic EDM music, there's a lot of really, really cool artists coming from Canada specifically.
You know what's cool too is we're all friends. So
That's
everyone's very supportive. We all hang out, you know. It's a really good community.
Do you think that's a misconception in the entertainment industry as well, about like how sometimes a collaboration could literally like people see a collab, right? And they're like, oh man, this is crazy. Like, what was the business behind this? And it's just literally like two friends like, hey, want to make a
like,
song?
hey, I texted my buddy, we're like, hey, you want to come to the studio?
And then it has like millions of streams. You're literally, this is just like, this happened because we're buds and you want to come to the studio. Like, that's cool to think about too, right?
That happens all the time. I mean, I have a bunch of songs with just my friends that are coming out. Yeah, and it wasn't like a business strategy. It was just like, hey, we're hanging out. Hey, should we make a song? Probably.
When you're making a song, does it depend on the song when you know it's going to be a good song? Is it when you're writing it? Is it when you listen to it again? What's that process like where you can kind of have the barometer of like, man, this is a good song?
I usually give it a day or two, like after writing it, because like every song sounds good when you write it initially.
Yeah.
You kind of have to give it that like test of like, you know, sleep on it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sometimes songs I initially thought weren't amazing and I've kind of came back to after like a month. Like, wait, there's something here, and kind of go back and like tweak some things. That happens too. But usually I would say, you know, within like a day.
I'm wondering now, because we were talking about heavy music, and I can't stop thinking about like if you're ever gonna sample any like deathcore things and like put it in a song, because I would love to see that if you were interested in doing something like that.
I would love to someday. I mean, I don't know if it would make sense at this exact moment, but I'm a huge fan of metal, so like if I can somehow incorporate some like shredding, I would be down.
But it's like rock music in general. You know how many times I've gone to like, you know, the club atmosphere and everyone's having a good time and listening to the dance music, and then someone samples Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, and people lose their minds.
Oh, that stuff can work. Oh yeah, definitely.
Have you done anything like that in live sets?
Oh yeah,
come to mind. Anything?
Actually, now that you say that, for sure, yeah.
Is there anything is there any songs, like rock songs that you used in the past?
I've used Smells Like Teen Spirit. Yeah. I used a Foo Fighters song. I had a Metallica hook at one point. I can't remember the song. You can kind of just like place acapellas. I find sampling like guitars and the beats are a bit harder to incorporate, but you can kind of take an acapella from anything, and if people know it, they're gonna go crazy.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for coming on Popternative to chat for a little bit, man. I really appreciate it.
And I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
So Still Calling Mine's available now. All your songs are available wherever you listen. What could they be looking out for specifically? I mean, you just released the single.
Yes. So I have an EP coming soon. It's called Wishes Volume 2, which is a continuation of Wishes Volume 1. A lot of music I'm very proud of. All house music, all dance music. Yeah, it feels very personal and inspired. So I'm very proud of it, and I can't wait for everyone to hear it.
Absolutely. Where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
You can find me everywhere at Famba Music.
Amazing. The consistency. Sometimes it's kind of hard, but I feel like you have a name that's not like, I don't think I'm sure there aren't that many like Famba officials out there. You know what I mean?
There's not. No. It's hard to secure the name Famba, but I just got Famba Music everywhere, so it's consistent. Amazing.
Well, seriously, continue to make some amazing beats. I'm gonna wait for that deathcore sample sometime, man. I can't wait for that.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, well, this has been Popternative. YouTube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. You can stream Famba's new single, Still Calling You Mine, and his new EP is coming out. You can listen to that on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you listen to music. Until next time, this is Petey Beats and Ryan, a.k.a. Famba, signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.